Hello, this is Success. How may I help you?
So, first off, I want you to introduce yourself, Steve, and what exactly it is that you do.
Well, it's a short show, so I'm not quite sure I can give you the full explanation, but I'm a bricklayer from London that's now called the Real Life Wizard of Oz, and my job is to train entrepreneurs to be more successful and to spend rich people's money giving them interesting cocktail stories.
Okay. So, what exactly is your story? How did you get to where you are like today?
Well, that's easy. I made a ton of mistakes. I'm a bricklayer that wanted to have money. Okay. Funny enough, if you want to have money, you can't hang around with poor people. So I had to try and find a way of having a value to be able to hang around with rich people, because I didn't have money, but hopefully I had a value. So I was the guy that started getting them into clubs. Then I started throwing my own parties, and then I started getting them into major events. So I became the fixer. I became the guy that could. So I became a value to an affluent community. And through that, I was actually able to, without them realizing it, interview them to find out how they became successful. So I gave myself a reason to be in that Rolodex and that circle.
That's cool. So what do you think your greatest struggle was trying to figure out what value you could add to these people and figure out how you could get in with them and intermingle, or just like your greatest struggle of in life, that how do you like get to where you are and how did you overcome it?
So the greatest, it wasn't a struggle, because the easiest way for me to be connected to you is for me to solve your problem. Okay? Yeah. Like, if you want a plumber, you'll only want a plumber when you've got a broken pipe. And then that plumber's going to come along and solve your problem. That's when you want that relationship. So for me to be in your life, I need to know what problem you have. If I want to be in your life a lot, I need to know what problem needs to be solved a lot. So that was my basic primitive thinking. My struggle became, strangely, after about 7 years, I started to doubt my looks and my intelligence and my voice. I started to look at the people I was hanging around with, and then I started looking at myself in the mirror going, well, hang on a minute. You're a biker from East London, and you look like it. You look like a big ugly guy, so how can you associate with affluent people? You know, I had a lot of self-doubt. Okay. And my struggle was trying to overcome that, and I overcome it by not focusing on the visual, but focusing on the substance. You know, forget how ugly I am. Am I actually providing a value? You know, forget how terrifying I may be. You know, am I providing an asset here? So for me to get over the way I looked, sounded, spoke, misspelt things, you know, I looked at the underlying valuation of what I brought to the party, and that was how I got over it.
Okay. And just to clarify, you are not terrifying or ugly looking at all, just so you know that.
Yeah, so if I met you at 12 o'clock in the night down a dark alley, you're not telling me you wouldn't be a little bit concerned?
If I met anybody at 12 o'clock in a dark alley, I would be concerned.
All right, fair enough. Good answer. All right, we'll take that.
All right, so getting through this and meeting people and having to pursue, like, getting over your struggle of, it seems like, lack of self-confidence, which I feel like a lot of us have.
Yeah.
I'm assuming mindset has to be a big thing, especially getting into places originally when you didn't have those connections. So how big is mindset in your life, and how big do you think mindset plays a role in people's lives?
So mindset is imperative now, and it couldn't be more critical now, but
Okay.
it didn't help me at the beginning.
All right.
Here's the funny thing. What helped me at the beginning of my job, future, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
was actually stupidity and ignorance.
Okay.
You see, I wasn't scared of anything because I'd never touched it before. I never knew. I wasn't taught to be scared of it. So I would be at an event and someone would go, we're not going to be able to talk to that person.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, well, why not? And I would walk up to them and I'd go, hey, how you doing, buddy? My name's Steve. Cool jacket. How you doing? And I would just start chatting to them.
Yeah.
And people would be, oh my God, how did you do that? And I'd be thinking, I just walked up. So luckily, my lack of intelligence didn't enable me to become paralyzed by fear because I didn't know I was supposed to be scared. And now, as I've grown up, I love the fact that most people, thankfully, have a real confidence issue, and it's one of the biggest diseases in our world at the moment. Is lack of self-confidence, and all the time, people that have self-confidence also have money. Then I'm in business.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. So, I'm assuming you travel a lot, correct? Based off of what I've seen.
Yeah, for years I've tried to cut down on my traveling.
Okay.
I average an airport a month. So, and I'm in, last year, funny enough, I said to my wife, I'm going to cut down on traveling. And she looked at me and she went, yeah, sure you are. And in December, I had 2 gigs for speaking. One of them was in Vegas and one of them was in Chicago in June. Vegas is in February. So I went, I'm only going to be on a plane twice, and one of those is a really short trip because I live in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Well, in the month of December, I've just got booked for Mexico, Thailand, and Spain. And all of that is before June. So I'm back to my one airport a month again.
Yeah. So with traveling and with going all different kinds of places and being all over the world, speaking, and with mindset being such a big thing, like you were saying how you had ignorance where there was no putting people on a pedestal because your confidence was just like, well, I don't need it. I don't have lack of confidence because I don't know why I should be afraid of them.
Correct. I had no confidence because I didn't know it was required.
Yeah. And so with that, like with now doing what you're doing, do you have like a daily routine in place to help you get yourself in the right frame before maybe you do a speech or before you wake up in the morning or something like that?
Yeah. Have you ever noticed that if you're stood next to someone, and you can't even speak their language, just bear with me a second.
No, yeah.
And you can't speak their language, and there's 2 of them.
It's kind of cut.
Okay. Have I froze? Have you still got me?
That's good. Now it's good. Okay.
All right. Okay. So let's go back to that story.
Okay.
You've got 2 people next to you, and you can't even speak their language.
Okay.
But they tell each other a joke, and they start laughing hysterically. Okay.
Yeah.
You can't understand the language. You can't understand the joke.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, without realizing it, you will start to smile.
Yeah.
So when I get up in the morning and I have to do something, which could just be work during the day, why would I layer myself with so much negativity in the morning? For argument's sake, I only have radio stations that play no music and that play no news in the mornings. Okay. I only put the TV on if it's not a news station. Okay.
Right.
I watch nothing to do with news up until about 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay? Yeah. Because you know full well the news in the morning is going to tell you that someone's been shot, there's a problem with politics, There's a war going on somewhere. There's starvation. There's a lawsuit. There's a scandal. We never have news stations that say, hey, there's this young lad that's got the world's greatest podcast, or this gentleman or this lady has just found a cure for cancer. You never see that in the news. It's all about car chases and who's released the sex tape. It's all negativity, and so I don't want to be part of it. So I don't have a morning ritual.
Okay.
I have a morning refusal, and I will refuse to do anything that makes me negative in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's something that everybody could take in. And like going on that, do you feel that the news and with all the negativity that it gives, do you feel that that's something that the news gives because that's what the news needs to give, or do you feel like that's something that like we as people crave when we get up for like that story or that information, like, oh my God, like this is happening, and like we want to dwell in the negativity? Or what do you feel about that?
I feel that basically every time you brush your teeth in front of a mirror, you're looking at the slowest evolving technology in the planet. And we are human beings. We have basics. We need to eat. We need to feed ourselves. We need to connect. We need to protect each other. We need to love each other. Like it or not, we're primitive human beings. When you're walking down the street and you're next to a bush and the bush rustles, you jump.
I do.
Okay? Bingo. If you're walking down the road and you see a guy or a girl walk down the other side of the street and they're looking cute, you look. Because we're primitive individuals. And the bottom line of it is, news is there to create a reaction. And we react greater to what scares us than what arouses us. So in which case, the news in the morning is never going to be full of good news. It's going to be things that shock us, because reaction creates addiction. And that's what they do. They will always lead. There's the old saying, if it bleeds, it leads. If it's scary, if it's disgusting, if it's frightening, how many times do you see a program and it says, the next video, we have to warn you, could be disturbing? Okay? What's the first thing you do when you hear those words? You lean in to watch it, don't you? You don't go, shit, well, that's disgusting. It's going to scare me. I shouldn't watch it. I'll turn off now. No. Every single person leans in because we are fixated on what scares us. If you are at a speech, and I've spoken to thousands and thousands of people, if you go up on stage and you say, hey, run out the back door now, there's a suitcase for $1 million. How many people do you think will leave the auditorium to go and find that suitcase? Maybe 10, you know? No one from the front row is going to do it because they don't want to walk all the way. But if there's someone stood near the back, they may go, oh, I'll have a look, you know, curiosity. But if you go on stage and you shout fire, everyone runs. We react to things that scare us faster than we react to things that we want to do, we love, energize us, make us positive. Sadly, fear dictates how we move.
Wow. I've never thought of it like that before. But
it's the basics. The basics,
So what would be like your number 3 tips for somebody in your industry?
What is my industry?
I don't know if it would be considered being the person that connects people, like semi-networking or speaking. I mean, I feel like you would probably know what you think would be best.
I think my industry is a people industry.
Okay.
So I think that anything that involves people, I should be able to communicate with. So my 3 tips would be, first of all, I suppose, based on the question, identify who you're talking to.
Okay.
So if you work in a machine shop making metal objects, you're not talking to anyone. So you don't need me. But in my industry, being a people person, the 3 things. One of them connect. Okay? And when I say connect, I mean actually connect. You know, like if I ask you about your best buddy, you know, what does he wear? What's his drink? You know all of these things because you connected with him. Okay? You may not know his middle name. You may not know his birthday. But you know what he prefers to drink, and you know what his favourite food is, and you may know what his favourite music is. Because when you connect with someone, you align the similarities. Yeah. Okay? So actually start connecting with people. And if you're near someone and you haven't spoken to them, you know, a lot, then maybe go over and say, hey, we've worked together for like 2 months now. We've never chatted, you know? And then ask them an obscure question. Okay. What's your favourite book at the moment? Ask them a question that gets them thinking. You know, is there a favourite tune you've got on the radio at the moment? If you were going to go out tonight with your loved one, where would you go for dinner? You know, what's your favourite restaurant in the area? Find out if there's any relatability. There may not be, okay? Yeah. But the first thing is to find those people that you connect with. Okay. The second thing leans off of that. Remove the people that you do not connect with. Okay. This is equally and potentially more important than number one. Because a lot of the time we actually fill our world up with people that we don't actually get on with, but they're in our world. And one of the classic statements is, well, I went to school with them, so I've known them all my life. Yeah. Well, guess what? People grow, and they grow apart, and they change. They may be a complete arsehole now. Just because you went to school with them doesn't mean you should hang around with them. If they're being a jerk, sorry, mate, move on. Yeah. So get rid of those people that you do not connect with. It will give you more positivity, and it'll give you more room in your life for those people that you do. And thirdly, probably the key is to start getting used to being you. See, I openly say it takes zero effort for me to be me, which allows me to use all of my energy, all of my positivity, all of my intelligence, creativity, passion, anything. It allows me to use 100% of it on whatever it is that's going to work for you. I don't want to have to put on a tie. I don't want to have to put a suit on to try and impress you, because frankly, I couldn't give a shit. It's what I do that should impress you, not what I look like.
Very true. So based off of the first tip that you gave, because I was actually talking about this yesterday, and I kind of want to go more in, you were saying connect with people.
Yes.
What would you say for that person that wasn't ignorant in the beginning and wants to go up and start approaching people to try to talk to them, to kind of like break past that barrier of like, oh my gosh, I can't talk to him because he's a millionaire, or that person is a really cool actor, or that person is the coolest person in our school, or the nicest, like something like that, where they put the person on a pedestal? What would you say to help motivate somebody to like continue to maybe start off small by talking to random people?
So the first thing is that no one should be on a pedestal. Yeah. Okay. Everyone is good at something, and everyone is equally bad at other things. Yeah. Okay. So there's no pedestal. I guarantee you the smartest people in our world today are going to die, are going to have breakfast, are going to go to the toilet just like me and you. Yeah. So what you should do, whenever you go up to anyone that you're a little bit nervous of, prepare. Okay? So the first thing you do is, if it's someone at your school, find out what they like. Okay? Find out, first of all, even if there's a connectability. Like, say, for argument's sake, you may like, I don't know, Justin Bieber. Okay? Find out if the guy at school likes Justin Bieber. Because if he hates Justin Bieber, don't even talk to him, because you're not going to connect. Yeah. Find out if there's similarities. You could go up to someone and go, hey, we haven't spoken, but I hear that you love martial arts, or you love MMA, or you like ballet, or you like heavy rock music and drums. I'm actually looking at getting into that. Where's a good place to go? You know, start asking them questions. Okay. One of the easiest ways to get someone to talk is to get them to talk about themselves or what they love.
Okay.
That's the easiest thing. I've gone up to famous people that I've wanted to do business with, and I've gone, hey, I believe you actually run this foundation. That foundation looks to me like a fantastic foundation. Congratulations. But why did you get involved in that?
Yeah.
And then they will go, well, actually, it's because, and they will start conversing with you.
Okay.
So the trick is to get other people talking about what they love or about them. And so do a little bit of homework. If it's a business person you want to speak to, then go up to and you can say, hey, I love your business. I'm sure you've had problems with it, but what made you start to do this business? Or what was it? Now, here's the key. They may not love that business.
Okay.
Some people, when they're in that business for so long, it becomes a paycheck and now they hate it. So when you go and talk to someone, focus on finding what they love, support, or are committed to.
Okay. So my next question is, what is something that you are extremely excited for that is coming up that you're like so pumped to work on? It might be something like really far in the future or something really close, but just something that like you're really excited that's coming up soon.
So I released a course on Bluefish Steve called The Distillery.
Okay.
I want to keep on putting videos up there and training courses. I want this to become a portal that helps people.
Okay.
I also have, and it's not been launched yet.
Right.
I think we're a couple of weeks off, but I'm finishing off the podcast, The Art of Making Things Happen with Steve Sims. So I'm actually releasing a podcast, which, as we know about podcasts, is free of charge. And it's really just me chatting with friends. And I've got some interesting friends. So it's me chatting with friends, or really just sitting in my garage with a whiskey in my hand, talking about what happened to me that day. So I'm looking at releasing that. That's what's really exciting me at the moment, the distillery and my podcast.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out when it comes out.
Yeah, it's coming out in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay. So my next thing is, when did you decide a 9-to-5 job isn't what you wanted to do anymore?
I think since birth.
Okay.
I as a lad from East London, I was a troublesome child, I'm afraid. Because I was bouncing off of walls, I didn't know where I fit. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't listen to the teacher. I had to be moving around, and all of these things make it look as though you're a bad child. The fact is, I didn't know what peg or what hole I was supposed to fit in. As soon as I did, then I became powerful. I became engaged. I became focused. I became passionate. And you work 9 to 5 on things you don't like to do. When you're an entrepreneur, you just work. So if it's Saturday and you can't sleep and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're sitting there with a coffee at your breakfast table, it's what you do, you know? So the 9 to 5 to me is prison for the brain. People that work 9 to 5 are doing it to pay the paychecks and to pay the mortgage and to get the growth. And that's fine, but it ain't me. And so I think I knew from a young age that I didn't fit. And now I've just spent 30 odd years just trying to find out where I do fit. And I think I still don't kind of fit. But I think I'm kind of comfortable in the fact that I don't really fit, if that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. I feel like that's kind of the goal, is not finding where you fit in, but finding like where you're comfortable enough to be uncomfortable. Classic.
There's a Joe Polish said to me years ago, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think I'm the mayor of uncomfortability. I think that's what it is.
So my next thing, Steve, is, what is Steve's number one goal? Like, why is Steve here on Earth? What does Steve want to accomplish before he goes either, I don't know what you believe in, but before he leaves this earth?
Before I go to the whiskey store in the sky, if you would have asked me that 10 years ago,
yeah,
I'd have said just to make money and make people smile. Because my book, Bluefishing, came out 2 years ago.
All right.
And before that, I was a really big deal to about 200 people in the world. The rest of the world never knew who I was. And this was perfect for me. You know, I knew kings, queens, politicians, rock stars. I would turn up at their parties. I would get paid very well, and I would leave and go home. And I was unknown. So, and they were smiling. So as long as I got paid well, and I made people smile and gave them good stories, that was my life.
Okay.
And then I noticed that I didn't like the way people were treating each other. I didn't like the way we were becoming selfie addicted. I didn't like the way that we were building an insta-perfect life. And it kind of pissed me off. Yeah. And so my focuses have changed. I want more people to do what me and you are doing. I want people to have a chat with someone. I want people to look in the eyes of each other. I want people to communicate with each other. And then I want people to put their hands out and say, how can I help you get up? How can I help you get to the next level? And that's what I'm enjoying now. I used to spend rich people's money giving them great cocktail stories. Yeah. I'm now consulting and doing videos and doing postings on Facebook, getting people to play in different sandpits. Yeah. And that's what's exciting me. So my goal now is to get more people understanding that we are primitive pack animals and that we need to learn to communicate before it's too late.
So one of the things that you said that kind of reached out to me was you said put your hand out, help people up. And I feel like there's also this notion of how you said your second main thing is to get rid of negative people, right? So what if the people that you want to help out are somewhat negative or down in the dumps, or like they kind of have this depressed mood on, or can be mean from you time to time, but you're still trying to help them out? What would you say towards that?
Don't help them.
Okay.
No, the bottom line is there's enough people out there that need help. If you want to wallow in self-pity, if you want to cry in your pants, knock yourself out, I'll come back and check on you later. But for now, I'm going to see if I can help people that want to be helped. You see, when you fly on a plane, have you flown on a plane recently?
Yeah.
Okay, what happens? You sit in your chair, and then the lady or the guy starts to do the instructions of where the exit signs are, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then what do? They get the air mask, and they drop the air mask, and they tell you the exact same thing. Put the air mask on you before you help others.
Yes.
Now, if you've got your air mask on you, and you reach to your buddy on the right-hand side, and he's flapping around like crazy, potentially going to knock off your air mask. Yeah. And then there's a friend on your left-hand side that's down there suffering and suffocating through lack of oxygen and wants help. Which one are you going to help first?
The one that wants help.
So help those that swim towards you. Help those that have got their hands out holding your hand up. Help those that want to be helped. When you're bored, then step back and help them. Put your air mask on first and then help others.
Okay. So my next and second to last question is, what is your number one piece of advice, Steve? What is something that you live by, or something that you've lived by recently that you think people should know and live by? Fail often, fail up, and be proud to fail. I am lucky in the fact that I know some of the richest, most powerful people in the world. And the one common denominator with every single one of these is that they are mass failures. And they try something and it works and they become very successful. And they try something again and it fails and loses a lot of money. And then they try something again and they constantly learn from their failures. It's not the failure that defines you, it refines you.
So I tell people, fail and fail often. Elon Musk actually said to me a couple of years ago, he said they will laugh at you until they applaud.
Very true. Very true. So my last thing before we are done is any shout outs, anything that you want people to check out that you have, your Instagram, Facebook. You mentioned your podcast is coming out soon. Just anything that you want.
I think the easiest thing to do is if you're in the US, then text the word Sims, SIMS, to 345345, or visit stevedsims.com. Sign up for the newsletter, and we'll let you know when I'm speaking in your area, when I'm releasing a new video on something that pisses me off, when the podcast comes out. You know, if you get into my subscription base, then I love to communicate with people. Okay.
I appreciate. I wish we had more time. I don't know if you have more time, but all right. Have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Steve.
Cheers, pal. Be good. Look after yourself.
Have a good week.